Hey everyone, it's Josh Bickers, Spiritual Guidance. Happy to have you back here again with me. Today I am going to be doing a question and answer video. So every week I will pick a question from people submitting questions through my website or through YouTube or on Facebook, and I answer that question on my YouTube channel. And yeah, I do that once a week. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment in the comment section below. Check out my website at spiritualguidance33.com. You can submit a question there if you go all the way to the bottom and submit your question through the little form. Or find me on Facebook, Spiritual Guidance, and we can connect and we can put your question in the queue. So today's question is so, in short, it's kind of a long question, but in short, the guy is asking me to touch on the topic of choice in our lives. He says that our lives is nothing but a choice, and even when you're not making a choice, you're making a choice to not make a choice. And he actually says that that exact question was what sparked his spiritual awakening. So it's I mean, that's a very good question. So with this, I would start with saying everyone has a choice. We have our free will. Down here on earth, that's one of the many blessings and one of the biggest privileges that we have is that we have our free will. Our spirits are allowed to make our own decisions. We do our own thing to a certain degree. So when it comes down to making choices, there's so much that influences those choices. And it also depends on how much of a spiritual connection you have at the time. And I mean, if you're real caught up in the 3D world, or you have a ton of limited beliefs, or you have a lot going on in your life that's not good, a lot of the times you're going to make a not good choice. If you're more connected with the universe or you're in a good place, most of the time you're going to make a better decision. So basically, when it comes down to it, we have a choice in everything. So with our careers, we have a choice. Do we 9 times out of 10, you're working at one place, you can choose to go work at another place, or you can choose to do your own thing. When it comes to even something as little as eating breakfast, you look in the refrigerator, what do you want to eat? Um, and just day to day things. You wake up, what do you want to do that day? So, um, where I would go with that question is we are able to make our own choices, and no matter what choice we make, there is no such thing as a bad or a good choice. Our spirit guides, the universe, God, will do everything in their power to get us to the place that is best, that's in our highest and best interest. So if we are faced with two decisions, let's just use jobs for example, because that's one of the most common decisions that people have that they'll have trouble with. A lot of the times, people will be faced with two different jobs, and they have to choose one because they have to make a living. Now, there's so many aspects to this to making a choice. So we can make a choice based on logic and what makes sense, such as this job pays $20 an hour, this job pays $15 an hour. Then we can do based on our feeling, and are we doing something that we love? So this job pays 15 an hour, but I would love doing it. This job pays $20 an hour, and it's doing a job that I already do that I don't really like. So, we're faced with that decision. Now, if we choose to go down the one because of money, because we need money, and in reality, our guides were pointing us, and our intuition was pointing us towards the one that makes us feel good, but we chose the one that makes more sense. That's not a bad choice. It's just a choice that you made. So what happens is, if we went down this route with the lower money and makes us feel good, the reason it's making us feel good and it makes us excited about it is because that's our intuition telling us that's the one to go to. But then our logic kicks in and says we don't make enough money doing that. But in reality, if you were to take that step, you will get to wherever it is, because we all have our manifestations that we want. We have our lives that we want to live. And we voiced it 90% of the time to the universe, and the universe wants to give that to us. So they present us with choices, and each choice is a step to get to where we want to be. So if we took that feel good choice, it could feel good because there's someone there that we're going to meet that's going to lead us to somewhere else. And then that's going to lead us to somewhere else. And we're just going to be faced with choice after choice after choice along the way. So that would be looked at as the good choice. It will get you there quicker if you take the feel good choices. But we decided to go with the $20 an hour choice. That's a secure job that we know is going to provide for our family. So we go into that and we do not like the job. We're not happy with the job. We are annoyed by having to go there every day. It feels stagnant. But what drives us is that paycheck. We have that paycheck coming in, and it's a good paycheck. And our family's happy because they're wealthy. But deep down, you're not happy because you have to go to a job that you don't like, and might not have enough time because you're working too much, and so on. So what happens is your guides will use that as a stepping stone in a way to teach you so much more than you might have learned going down that easier path. So what they do is they'll use that situation to help guide you to learn a lot more about yourself, or about your choices for that matter. And then what ends up happening is this one over here, the feel good one, is a shortcut. You go boom, straight to your destination. It's not quite that, but we're just saying that for conversation's sake. So you're straight going there. It's a shortcut. This one, you're going around the bend and taking a longer route to your destination. But along the way, you're going to learn the things that you need to learn. And then you will be faced with this same exact choice again of, do you want to go here where it feels good, or do you want to go here where the money's good? And this applies to everything in life, not just money and jobs. It's relationships, friendships, what car you want, what house you want to buy or rent, or there's so many different decisions and choices. But take this for example, and you can apply it to all of them pretty much. So what happens is you're faced with that choice again. Do you want to go down go down the feel good route that makes less money, or do you want to go down the other route that is making a lot more money? Because what's going to happen is your guides and yourself is most likely going to suck that energy out of that job, and you're going to feel that, and you're going to be forced to come to a point where you're like, look, I need to find another job. I'm worn down. I'm not enjoying it anymore. Or they'll force you out by ending up making you get fired or something. If you have a calling and you're trying, or you have a real desire to get somewhere, the universe is going to do everything it can to make that happen. Short story, I had a job that I liked at first, and then it started to become stagnant. And while I was working there, and this was when I first started my spiritual path, when I was working there, all I could think about is how I could get out of there to get a job that's going to provide for my family while not having to work 40 hours a week. And sometimes I was working 50 hours a week, but to where I didn't have to work 40 hours a week, and sometimes on the weekend. So I was only getting one day off a week, and I would always think, how can I do this? How can I do this? And eventually I awakened at that job, and I started to manifest a better life for me and my family. And what happened is I got fired from that job in the weirdest way you can imagine. Um, and from there, as soon as so when I got fired, my wife was 4 months pregnant with our first child. So you can imagine how that conversation went with my wife. So, but when I got fired, I already knew that this was the beginning of my journey, if that makes sense. I knew that something else was going to be coming up that night, actually. I knew it. I told my wife that someone that night that I was going to go meet is going to have an opportunity for me, and I just feel it. And they did. And I ended up going there and working, and it all just prepared me for where I'm at now. It really did. So, um, no matter what choice we make, the universe is going to bring us back to our divine path. The universe wants us to be on our divine path, and it wants us to be happy. So no matter what choice you make, your guides are always going to be there rooting you on. So another example would be if you choose to live a straight life where you're working or you're doing good for others and you're just enjoying your life. That's one choice. If you choose to go and rob banks and steal from people and be a bad person, that's another choice. I have that choice right now. I can go and do that right now if I want to. Obviously, I'm not going to because I'm happy with the route that I'm going, and I know that's not going to help me or others, and it's not in my best interest in my divine path. But there are people that are forced to go that route because they're so broke they have to go rob a bank, or they are greedy and they want to go rob a bank and have money, whatever it is. If you're going down that path and you're robbing people, you're hurting people, your guides, they don't turn their back on you. They're still there rooting you on and trying to get you to stray away from that path. So it's all unconditional love on the other side. So you may go rob a bank, or you may be getting ready to rob a bank, and your spirit guides might be showing you some posts on Facebook on jobs that you could get or ways to make money that are legal. Someone might say something about that and give you suggestions on getting a job or doing something else to make money that's legal. That's not going to put you in jail or hurt yourself or hurt others or even get you killed. Because that's not doing the universe any good to have you dead and not experiencing the life that you need to experience. Now, that is an experience itself, and that's your choice. And that's just the way it goes. And you'll be reincarnated and do it all over again. So, but at the end of the day, your spirit guides are there rooting you on, saying, hey, look, you're doing bad right now. We still love you. Instead of robbing this bank today, how about we go and get a job? And you'll get nudges, you'll get thoughts, you'll get signs. And a lot of the times you ignore them because you either have to because you need the money, or you just are ignoring them because you choose to go down that path. So you're choosing not to acknowledge those signs. So, at the end of the day, we all have a choice. We all have free will. We have the freedom to do what we want, and that's what's beautiful about this life. One thing I do want to say, and I think I've mentioned this in other videos, and I want to mention it again, is when you are making your choice in life, I think it's important to not listen to everyone else. It's okay to get some other opinions on it at times, but you know what opinions resonate with you and what don't, which ones don't. So when you have a choice in front of you, no matter if it's one or two choices, three choices, four, whatever it is, I want you to sit down in a meditative state, relax, and then I want you to think of each situation. You can use techniques such as seeing which one looks brighter. So you can put them all out in front of you in your mind if you're clairvoyant and can imagine them, and see which one actually looks brightest. That's one technique that will help. You're using your intuition. Another thing that I like to do is I like to go down the path of that choice in my mind. I like to play that path out And I like to really be in that. That's why I say in a meditative state. I like to really be in that situation and feel that situation. So as I'm going, I feel, am I happy about it? Am I excited about it? How do I feel this is going to play out? I might go down one choice and it's great in the beginning, but then I start to realize, okay, this is getting kind of repetitive and boring and I don't want to do this. And then now I realize I wouldn't want to do this for the rest of my life, or I wouldn't want to do this for any amount of time. So then I'll go ahead and I'll push that one to the side, look at the next one, go down it, and see, is this something that is exciting me? What can I do within this situation to make it something that I like and want to do for the rest of my life? So you keep going down each one and see which one has the brighter path. Now, once you do that, you should have a pretty clear um, you should have pretty clear proof on what one you should do. Really, if you don't, then you need to get together with yourself and be honest. You need to get honest with yourself, and you need to really look at those situations. So another way you can do, if you're not clairvoyant and you can't see things like that, you can feel with your chakras, feel with your body, your gut, use your gut instinct, and you can see each situation or think of each situation and feel what that makes you feel like. Ask your body to help you. Say, okay, if I go down this route, how is this going to make me feel? And then just feel with your body. And your body tells you much more than you realize. Um, so, I mean, that is and even if you're clairvoyant, you're still using that while visualizing it. But if you're not clairvoyant, you can take the clairvoyant visions out of it and just do it. Um, Another thing, and this is more of a technical, practical kind of way, is writing out each job or each choice. And like I said, I'm using job as an example because this is the most frequent one, but this is with anything, any situation, any choice that you're faced with. So look at each choice and get a pen and a piece of paper, and I want you to write down a column, two columns, and good and the bad. And I want you to label it whatever job or situation that is. And then I want you to write out all the good things about that job and then all the bad things about that job. And then I want you to do the next one and the next one and the next one. No matter how many you have, do that. I did that one time when I was faced with a job situation, and it honestly, I mean, I was so torn between this choice between jobs, and it was going from a job where I was making $26, $27 an hour to a job where I was making maybe $17 to $15 an hour when I had a newborn and so on. So it was a very big decision, and I couldn't quite grasp which one I wanted. I knew what one I was wanted, but I was afraid because my logical mind was kicking in because of the safety factor of my family. I wanted to make sure I have a newborn, I can't fail and not have a job and not be making enough money. So what I did is I put those columns down. I wrote one of the jobs, the one I was at, and it was literally one or two good things, and all the rest, probably 10 to 15 things, were bad. I went over to the other one, and I probably had about 5 to 10 good things about that one and one bad thing, and that was the money. And that was a deciding factor for me on how I was going to make that choice. So um, that's an incredibly practical way for you to figure out what choice you want to do. Now, you can do that with relationships, you can do that with just anything in life, any kind of situation you're faced with, any choice that you're faced with. So, with that, let me see if Spirit wants to bring anything else through. Okay, one last thing I want to do. The video is getting a little bit long. So, one thing I want to point out is when, and I think I've mentioned this before as well, when you are going down a path and you're meeting a ton of resistance, you can almost tell that it's just not meant to be. But a lot of the times we keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and then we get distracted and we end up way over here doing something we don't even know what we're doing now. When in reality, when we start pushing and you're in a pushing energy and no longer a flowing energy, you need to take a step back to the last time that you noticed your energy flowing. The last time that you noticed that everything was going good for you. And you need to reset, regather yourself, look at your options, and go with the one that fits you that or feels the best, and all the stuff I just mentioned that helps you get to that choice. And when you do that, whenever you're going down and whenever you go down a path that feels really good and everything's flowing and going good, that you're not meeting much resistance. Obviously, we're going to meet resistance in life. It's the way the world works. But when you start hitting a lot of resistance, you can tell. A lot of us have already experienced it and know what I'm talking about. So that's called our divine path. That's when you know you're on your divine path. When you're going down a path that feels good, everything's going good, everything's flowing good, you're not meeting a ton of resistance, everything's good, that's the right path. And then there may become a time when you start to get a little bit resistance because you started to stray off. Or when you're faced with a new decision or choice, you may go down this one and hit a little bit of resistance, and you're going to come back, go down the next one, feel good, everything's flowing. So you got further ahead. You started here, felt good, faced with another choice. Went that way, didn't feel good, came back. Went this way, now you're further, went this way again, didn't feel good, came back. But what happens is once you practice feeling out your decisions and seeing how they play out, it just takes time, unfortunately, because we have to go through the situations. It took me probably about 4 or 5 years before I can really narrow down the decisions, and it can take you quicker because I am very stubborn and I do not like to listen to spirit. I didn't, at least. Now I do. Um, because I want to get there the easiest way possible. I want to get to where I want to be and where I need to be the easiest and quickest way possible. So do what feels good. Make the choice that make the choice using all of the tools that I just gave you, and understand that no matter if you made one choice, if it starts to feel stagnant or not good, you can always go back and figure out or try the other choice or figure out another choice for yourself. There's no bad choice. Your guides are there with you, supporting you, and trying to get you to go in the right direction. Obviously, if you're causing harm to people, your guides are not supporting you with that, but they're still supporting you to try to get you on the right path. It's nothing but unconditional love. So I hope that helped you a little bit. If you have any questions about any of it, leave a comment. Again, leave a question if you have a question, if you want me to cover it. I'll add it to my folder and you can tune back in and I will answer your questions. Other than that, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more from me. Give me a like, it means a lot to me. It kind of lets me know that these videos are touching you or worth it. So, with that, I will say thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have an awesome week and a better weekend. I'll be back here on Monday. Have a good one.